All right, guys, welcome back to week 3 summary session, right? And before I start the week 3, I would like to understand if you have any doubts until week 2. I have given or I have uploaded the week 2 and week 1 solutions in the Google Drive. I also have seen that not much of you guys have given me back with the solutions for week 3. So I'm just trying to understand that how many of you have actually completed or completed or didn't upload something like that. So this is Daniel week 2. You see Daniel, I just see week 2 here for you. Suhasini, yeah, I see week 3 for you. That's good. So how many of you have implemented but didn't upload?
I've uploaded mine, Suvik, but I think I misnamed them, so I can fix that now.
All right, okay. That's cool. Tripti, I don't know. From Tripti, I don't see anything. Tripti, are you there? No, I think she isn't there. She was there, I think, last week. Okay, Hima is joining. Somebody with name JC. Who is JC? Rabia.
So, Vic, I think we are seeing your different screen.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
No, I'm just actually, you cannot see the other screen. I see somebody named with JC joined. Who is JC? JC Newman?
Hi, Suvik. It's me, Vincent. I just need to change.
Oh, Vincent.
the name.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry. No problem. That's fine. Cool. So, okay. So what we are discussing is about.
Savik,
Yeah, tell me.
hi, good morning anyway. I've
Yeah.
gone through week 1. Actually, I was so impressed, but I was looking at maybe I will ask you later, at the while loop. You know, while
Okay.
loop, you use the counter class, counter
Yeah.
plus plus. When you run it,
Yeah.
you did the ascending order and the reverse order for the for loop, which was quite good. Then you went into the while loop for iteration, and then you use the counter to initially when you run it without a counter plus plus, it was running infinitely. Then you add a counter plus plus. I saw on your screen it stopped, but when I implemented on my it didn't. Then you also used the Boolean loop, which was quite a very different approach, and it was really the first time I've seen somebody using Boolean loop. So probably later when we're done, if you could give me a bit of a brief explanation on that. I know it's something small. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem at all. No
And a
problem.
Boolean loop anyway. It was
It's not a
very
Boolean loop. It's just a while loop. I have used Boolean to just break the loop. That's it. I mean, just a different approach of doing it. That's it.
Okay. Mine was going it was going round even after adding the counter plus plus to count it to the next initialization, but that should be after maybe later. Then I will look into that. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
That was a lot though. Bye.
No problem. That's okay. All right. So what I'll do is I'll quickly start with the explanation for week 3, and then I will obviously go back to my solutions for week 3. Let me start with the week 3 then. Just give me a minute. So, all right. All right, so as a part of week 3, we started with if-else conditions. Well, if-else condition is pretty much self-explanatory. There is nothing much to be discussed here. I am just creating a if block. A lot of people say if loop. There is nothing called as if loop, guys. It's an if block. So it's an if block where I have 3 different variables. I'm just trying to verify if A is greater than B. If it is, then the execution will go inside the block, which is starting from here to here of the if section. Okay, so here it will go and it will just print this particular value, right? And if this particular condition A greater than B is not working out, only then the execution will go to else if for a check, okay? Else if for a check. If this is matching up, then this will be printing out. If both of this condition is not working, if this condition is not working and this condition is not working, only then the else will work out. It's a very, very simple thing to understand. This is called multi-level or a nested if else. Okay, you just see there is if and then else if and then else. It's a nested if else. So you have to understand something, that is, a lot of people ask me the question, can I keep only if? Only if? Yes, certainly you can keep only if you want to, right? So you just say you can finish your if block only in this particular section. Okay, you don't want, so basically you are writing a program where you are saying, in the program you are just having one condition saying if this particular condition matches, then you want to add another information or something like that. Okay, so that if block will only work if that condition matches, and there is no else part to it. There is no else part to it. There is just one if condition. You can definitely have it like that. However, you cannot keep a simple or a single else block. That is not going to work out. You can try it in your Eclipse editor. It will throw you with an error right there. That is not possible. Okay, that is basically a normal if and else understanding. There is one more thing that you must be also aware of by now, hopefully, that is, you cannot write something like this. You cannot write if A greater than B, else, and you just have else, and you have another guy over here saying else if. You cannot do that. A greater than C. You cannot do that. You cannot keep a else. You cannot have another else after another. After a else. After a else, you cannot have another else. It's not possible. Okay. I'm just trying to tell you what are the things that are possible and not possible, so that you are aware of what to do with it. Okay. So that's pretty much with the if else that you must be understanding. Do you guys have any questions for me in if else section? Give me a shout, yes or no. Tripti is here. Hi, Tripti. Tripti, can you hear me?
Thanks, Shavik. Yeah, I'm in.
Tripti, I didn't find your solutions from week 1. What's happening?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I will upload it soon. I
Okay.
didn't. This week I didn't get time to do this. So.
Okay. All right. So this is an if-else condition, which I'm right now talking about. Do you have any questions with respect to if-else condition? What is the if-else condition? How it is working? Any questions with that?
No, I'm fine. Thanks.
Okay. For others? Okay. Yeah, so Ashwini, you want to say something?
No, Sovik. My question is regarding switch case in the document.
Okay, I will come to that.
Yeah, sure.
So I'm going to switch case. Well, switch case is a little bit different than if else. You have to understand that in switch case is a situation where you will know, there is no conditional check as such. Like we are doing in if else, we are trying to verify if A is greater than B or B is greater than C, those kind of checks I'm doing. And then I'm trying to make an informed decision that in which block will be executed, right? That is not something which is there in switch case. Switch case is very simple. It says, okay, this is my job title. This is my job title. This guy is my job title. If my job title is matching to any of these cases, to any of these cases, then I will be printing that information, and I will be breaking out of my case. If I don't use a break over here, I will immediately be moving from this case to the other case. Actually, not only one case, but it will keep on going to all the cases if I don't use a breakpoint. If I don't use a break, it will be checking each and every case, and it will go inside that and it will print it. Okay, that's how switch case works, right? So you need to make sure that whatever actually this program is wrong, you know. This particular program is wrong. Why wrong? Because
Yes.
I'm saying job title got two lowercase. However, none of them are in lowercase. None of them are in lowercase. And obviously it will not print anything from this particular program at all. Okay?
Yeah, this is what I was about to ask you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah.
And
This
I
will not
think
work.
this is the similar question asked in the Slack as well by someone, Arup or
Okay.
someone. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I think I answered that question. This particular program is wrong, but I hope you get the point. If you are using a lowercase, then it has to be in lowercase, and then you print something there, and then you break out of that case for sure. Otherwise, you will not be able to. Otherwise, you will not be able to go. I mean, you will not be able to come out of the switch block. It will keep on going to each and every case, and it will print the value, which is something that we don't want. So that's the switch case statement, perfectly fine. If any questions, please stop me here. All right. Then it comes a very, very important concept, which is access specifier. This access specifier is a concept which is basically telling me why we have, I mean, how really we can restrict someone to call a function or to access any variable. How can I do that? So there are 4 different type of access modifier or specifier we have in Java: private, default, protected, and public. Okay, so we will start with the public. Let me quickly go and create a new project. So I'll just say week 3 summary session. And don't create new package. Week 3. I'll just say so I'll just do one thing. I'll create 2 different package. Okay, week 3 and week 3A. Okay, 2 different packages, perfectly fine. I'll create a simple class, and the class will be say car. The car class is having 2 attributes. I'll just say public. I'll say public, say brand, string brand, and public float or double engine. Okay, I have these 2 guys. Okay, in car, and I have one more method called public as well. Public void print info. Okay, print info. As a part of print info, I will just say nothing much, but just I'll print the value. So sys out, I will say brand plus engine. Just simple method. Now, as a part of public, as a part of public class, I can access the, hi Gaurav, you're late today a little bit. I don't hear him. Hi Gaurav, can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah.
You got late little bit. Anyways,
Yeah.
so we are talking about access specifier, Gaurav. Thank you.
Yeah.
So this is a situation. I have string, brand, engine, and a public method. That's it. Now, when I'm saying public, I can access this particular car because car is obviously public element. And along with that, I can actually access any one of them from anywhere within the project or out of the project. When I say out of the project also, I can access these variables or these elements. How can I do that? So you can see, obviously, I mean, if I just say test class here, say test car, okay? I'll say test car, and test car is a main method. It has a main method. Okay, and then I will say, very simply, I will say car Mazda equals new car, and I will say Mazda okay. So you see, as soon as I do that, guys, I have a problem. I have a problem, and since I have to import, I have to tell this statement over here that where exactly is the car class is located in this project or somewhere else. No problem at all, or somewhere else, right? So if I hover on top of it, it says import car from week 3 package. If I click on this guy, you see it says import week3.car, right? So it got imported, the car got imported, right? Now I can say Mazda dot brand equals Mazda, and Mazda dot engine equals 2.2, and Mazda dot print info. If I just write that and if I run this, obviously without any doubt, this will give me the information that I'm looking for. That's perfectly fine. Let me actually take this down. Okay, so I will get my information printed. All good with that. Okay, this is a public variable, public access specifier. When I'm saying that I can even access this brand, engine, and print info method out of a project, I mean this. Look at what I'm going to do now. I'm going to create a build. I'm going to create a build out of this particular project. When I'm saying I'm creating a build out of this project, ideally what am I doing is I'm creating a jar file. Jar file means, I have already explained this, I believe so. Jar means Java archive. Java archive file. Okay, so I'm creating a Java archive file, and this Java archive file I will be now extracting out of this particular project, and then I will add that jar file into another project, and I will show you how. So let me quickly say export, right? I'll say general. I will say, no, sorry, not general, Java, and I will say jar file, okay? And I'll say next. And it's saying that you want to extract everything out of this project. I said, yeah. And then I'm gonna say that, I'll give a name to it. I'll say car class, for example, car, that's it, car.jar, something like that, okay? When I say car.jar, it's actually not just only one class, but it is entirely packaging the whole project. Okay, I just gave the name car.jar. I'll say finish. By the way, I didn't see where did I do it. Just a minute. Export jar file. Next, it's happening inside browse. Actually, let me do it in the desktop, right? Wisdom QA. This is put here car.jar, right? Yeah, that's better. That's a finish. And that's my okay car.jar. You see, this got created, right? Let me actually put it inside this file. Okay, you see, I created a jar file, car.jar file. Perfectly fine, good stuff. What I will do now is I will quickly create my own project, another project. So new file, new Java project. I'll say test car package or car jar, something like that. And I will say finish. I don't want to create module.java. And testcar.jar is created. Perfectly fine. What I will do now, I will simply add the car.jar file that I created a minute back into this project. How can I do that? It's very simple. I can say right click on this. I can say properties, and I can go to Java build path. Okay. And then I can say inside the class path, I can say add external jars. And then I can do one thing. I can simply go back to my Wisdom QA folder, go back down here, car open. That got added to my separate project altogether. It's a separate project altogether. I added it here, apply and close, all done. Now, you see, this particular project is having a reference libraries, which is car.jar. If I expand this guy, I see week 3 and week 3a project, week 3a, I mean package, week 3a, there is nothing over here. Okay, sorry, there is a test class package, class file. And then in week 3, there is a car.class file. Done. Now what I will do, in the source folder of this particular project, I'm going to create a new package, test me, and simply over here I'll say new class main with the main method. Perfectly fine. What I will do, I will simply go ahead and create an object of car class, because the car class is right now added as an external dependency to this particular project. Okay, so what I will do now, I will say car, I will say Benz equals new car. And when I did that, immediately I'm thrown with the same error again, saying I'm not able to find the car. Now, if I do it, import, it says I'm coming from week3.car. Week 3 is where? Week 3 is a part of car.jar class. And I got the reference from there. Now I can go ahead and say that Benz dot, you see, I am able to access brand because it was public. And I'll say Benz. And I will be able to access Benz dot engine 2.2, and I will be also able to access print info. And if I just go ahead and run this main guy, run as Java application, if I do that, then I get the result as it is. So this clearly proves that when I say public, an access specifier, when I'm saying it as public, it means that you will be able to access it from anywhere within the project or outside of the project. That is what exactly it means. Okay. All right. Any questions with public specifier? Yes, no. Any questions with public specifier?
No, it's fine.
Rabia, I'm not hearing from you. What is it? Are you understanding this part?
Yeah, all good. Yeah.
Good. Just stop me if you see anything that is not making sense. Please stop me. All right, so that's public specifier. I will quickly go back to my breakthrough solutions. In here, I can create the variable, which is private variable, private, and the name would be, say, string model. Okay, I can say that. And I can certainly say engine plus model. I can certainly say that. Model, I can certainly say that. But if I just call the test card.class now, if I just run this guy now, you know what will happen? I will get the value as null over here because the private variable that I created inside the car class, I will not be able to access this variable so that I can fill in some information into it. You can see that in this situation, I can say Mazda dot model. If I say model equals, say, Mazda 6, right? If I say that, you see I'm getting an error right now saying this guy is not visible. Why it's not visible? Because it's private. So any element or any attribute or method, if it's private in nature, then it can only be accessible within the class, only the class scope. This is the scope of a class, right? So all the methods within this class will be able to access this private variable, but no one else will be able to do it. That's with the private, okay? When I don't provide any information, so for example, this model that I have, I'll quickly comment this out and I will create a similar variable one more time. But this time, I'm going to make this as default. I'm going to make this as default, right? Or I will do one thing. I will just take it out. So if I don't give any access specifier to any attribute, then it is considered to be a default access. With the default access, you can see something that I have a problem. What's the problem? The problem is I'm still getting some error. What's the error? The error says car model is not visible. Car model is not visible. But you saw that I have just changed it to a default access modifier. But even then, why am I getting it as same error saying this model is not visible? It is happening because the car class and the test car class, they are in two different packages. They are in two different packages. Because they are in two different packages, you will not be able to access the the default element. If I just simply drag and drop this guy to week 3, the error will be gone, just like that. Which clearly means that if an attribute is having default access modifier, then it can be only accessible within the package. It can only be accessible within the package. If you take it out of the package, it will not be accessible. That's with the default. Okay. So until now, I'm understanding that you guys are aware of all these 3 concepts. Regarding the protected, how many of you have understood the concept of inheritance? Or did you watch the inheritance video?
Yeah, Shavik, I have gone through, I understood. I think.
Okay. So with that, just a minute. Okay, so I have spoken about the inheritance in the same slide, I've spoken about inheritance, and then probably if I discuss inheritance and then if I discuss protected, it will make sense. So I'll quickly go back to inheritance. I would like to understand how many other people is good with inheritance, because that's a very, very important concept. It's a part of Java OOPS concepts. Are you comfortable with inheritance? Yes, no?
Yep.
Okay. So can someone tell me what is the, okay, can someone tell me that if I'm going for hierarchical inheritance, is it possible to have a multi-pel inheritance in Java? If not, why not? Who can tell me that? What is multiple inheritance?
Like same base class cannot have two subclasses.
Java cannot, it doesn't support multiple.
No, just 1 minute. Someone said same base class cannot have two subclasses. You can actually have that, right? Odo? Two subclass can definitely go and extend to one base class, like the one that I am showing. It's a hierarchical inheritance where I have two subclasses, which is extending to one base class. It's possible.
What I'm saying is one base class cannot extend to two, like class C, which is shown in the multiple one.
Base
Here
class, yeah. So this is, so we will say subclass as this guys and base class as these guys.
Okay, fine. My terminology is wrong. Okay.
Yeah, terminology is wrong. This subclass is our base class. Anyways, all right. So yeah, so this is not possible. Multiple inheritance is not possible because I cannot say that class A extends class B, comma class C. I cannot do that. It's not possible in Java to have multiple inheritance using extends keyword. There is a possibility that we will see later on using interface, but not right now. Okay, so with respect to inheritance as a concept, the idea is very simple. That is, the properties of the parent, that means the properties of the base classes will be inherited. The properties of the base class will be inherited to the subclass. So which means if I have certain methods, certain variables which are a part of class A, that can be easily accessible by class B and class C, right? For example, I can easily show this to you with my code in here where I'm saying I have a car class which is having these two guys, brand and engine, no problem at all. I have these two guys, brand and engine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make them as default, both of them. I'm going to make them as default for now. Okay, I'm going to make them as default for now. I'm going to create some class, and I'll say Benz, and I will say new class. I will say Mazda. Two different classes, Benz and Mazda. That's perfectly fine. I can say Benz is extending to car, extends to car. Mazda is extends to car, is extending to car. I would like to understand, because you have already watched the video, I would like to understand what will be the benefit of inheritance. What is going to be the benefit For me, if I am able to inherit the properties of my parent into the subclass, and I will choose a name, I want him to answer me. Probably Gaurav. Can you tell me what's with inheritance? Like, why do I want to do that at all? Gaurav, are you there? If you're speaking, I'm not able to hear because you're in mute. Okay. Hema, do you want to answer me? Why inheritance is required at all?
Because to import any information from the parent class.
I understand import, but what is the benefit? Like, it's not import. It's not import. Ideally, that the keyword is not import. You should say access. You want to access some information from your parent class to the child class. So, but why do you want to do that at all?
To improve the if we want the qualities of other classes or other code, so we need the support of inheritance, because the same code cannot be repeated in another program or another file. So
no, that's wrong. That's wrong. You can do it.
Usually inheritance is for recognition. So maybe if we want to distinguish the attributes.
I think it's that what's that what they use? The dry do not repeat yourself. So you're able to reuse the method and
no. Gagan, do you want to answer them?
Sure, Souvik. Like, because we want to reuse the same kind of variables, so we use inheritance.
So ideally, everything is right. I mean, everything what you're saying is kind of okay, but the main reason that you want to ideally access is that whatever the variables that you are creating, whatever the methods you are creating in the car class, you just want to use those in order to work with your subclass. It's not about do not repeat yourself. I mean, so for example, this is the thing, right? So if you have a situation where you want a particular class like a Mazda to have a specific characteristic, in the same time you want to keep the characteristics of a car. For example, you want to have a characteristics of Mazda, which is probably running the car at lightning speed. That's the characteristics of Mazda car, for example, right? Along with that, you also want to keep the characteristics of an actual car. That's where you will be using inheritance. Am I making sense? In the subclass, you're specifying some additional characteristics. Am I making sense, guys? This is the answer that I was looking for.
Yeah.
Right? For example, I know the car is capable of printing the information. That's fine. But the car is not capable of probably saying the speed. So the engine is wait a minute. What are the things I have? I have engine model. Let me have another guy called int speed, right? Right. And I want to say that the Mazda having an accelerated speed of public void, say accelerated or speed, lightning speed, right? In the lightning speed, I will say something which is sysout, and then here I will say that it is running at whatever is going to be my speed variable. I want to add maybe 50 to it. I can do that. So I have just given a 50 kilometer per hour speed extra to this particular variable. I mean, to this particular car. This is absolutely, something that I'm not trying to justify, but I'm just trying to say, I mean, the business logic I'm not trying to justify, but I'm just trying to say you that with inheritance, what exactly you can do, you can give an additional importance or an additional characteristics to your subclass by keeping other properties of that class intact. This is what you should be understanding from inheritance perspective, right? So this is Mazda car, this is Benz. Benz can have another characteristics, and then it is extending to car, right? So you see, once I have all of them here, now I will just create a new package or new class, and I'll say test inheritance. Okay. Test inheritance, I'll say finish with the main method, that's a finish. And now I can quickly go ahead and say Mazda equals new Mazda. Now because I have extended Mazda to car, so obviously in that situation, I don't really need to reconstruct my Mazda class, which means I don't have to create separate variables, separate methods whatsoever. I don't have to create that. So in that situation, whatever you are saying, do not repeat yourself making sense. But on the other hand, you also have to tell the interviewer, when you are trying to go for an interview, you should say that you can specify, you can add an additional characteristics to your subclass. So that's where you say Mazda dot. You see, I get the brand, I get the Mazda dot engine 2.2. I say Mazda dot model equals 6. I can say Mazda dot speed. For example, the top speed is whatever, maybe 120. And then I can do something. I can actually go ahead and add another information, in my car class. Model plus speed. And I will say it as plus speed, right? I did that perfectly fine. Now what I will do, I will go back to my Mazda, and in here I have just added running at speed plus 50. That should be fine. What I will do is I will quickly go back to my test inheritance, and in here I will say Mazda dot running at. Did I not save the Mazda class? I did. Lightning speed. This particular method is now specific to my subclass, and there I go and run this. So I get this value. Okay, I didn't do the print. Mazda.printinfo. And if I run this now, I get the value, right? 120 was the speed. Now it is 170, right? So you can see that I can give a specific, special characteristic to my subclass. That is where the inheritance is possible. So now if I take you back to my code, not code, here, right? So you can see that there are three different kind of allowed inheritance structure. That means class B is subclass extending to the base class, that is class A. And then you have a multi-level inheritance where C is extending to B, B is extending to A, which means the properties of A will be accessible to both B and C. Properties of B will be accessible to C, right? That is the multi-level inheritance. It's like, you know, like, what do you call this? You know, normal keyword inheritance, we know, right? My parent, my grandparents' properties will be coming to me, something like that. So that's how it is. And then similarly, you have hierarchical inheritance. So you have two subclasses. They can extend to one single child, even one single base class, which in our case, I just did in front of you. I created Benz and Mazda, and I was able to extend it to class A without a problem. On the other hand, this particular situation is not possible. Multiple and hybrid is not possible. Why not possible? I told you that in Java with normal inheritance concept, I cannot extend to multiple classes. That can be done with interface. And I will explain you that later on, right? So that's that. Now let's head back to protected. Okay, what I will do is, I have shown you in my screen that all these variables which are there as a part of a car, right now these guys are all default. These guys are all default variables, right? All of them default, perfectly fine. In this situation where I have week 3 and I have week 3A, in this situation you can see that Mazda or the test inheritance or the car, every of these classes are in the same package. That is week 3 package, correct? That is week 3 package, no problem at all. What I will do is I will quickly move. So car is the class that contains all these variables that are default in nature, right? So I will quickly move the car class into week 3A package, like so. I did that. As soon as I do it, immediately I am thrown with an error in my week 3 package. Let's look at the first element. It says I'm not able to, Mazda is not able to access speed variable, not able to access it, perfectly fine. Test car class is not able to access brand, engine, model, none of them. Okay. And then test interface, this is also not able to access brand, engine, model, speed, none of them whatsoever. Correct? Right? Now what I will do is I will quickly go ahead and I will make a change. What's the change? I will quickly go back to my car class and I will make all of these variables as protected. Protected, and protected. By doing this, there is going to be a change that we can notice immediately. Not in here and here, but in the Mazda class where I was earlier having an error with the speed, I don't have that anymore. Why is that? What is the difference between being a default access modifier and protected? With the default access modifier, the problem happens is that if the elements, if the attributes are moved, I mean, you cannot access an attribute with default access modifier from a different package. I've shown that to you earlier. You cannot have that, okay? You cannot access a default access modifier, element from a different package. You cannot do that. On the other hand, with protected, it doesn't matter whether the car class and the Mazda class are in two different places. It doesn't matter because there is a inheritance created between car and Mazda. So it doesn't matter whether they are in two different packages, I will still be able to access it like the way I am seeing it here. But can you tell me, okay, before I ask the question, tell me whether you understood this difference between default and protected. Yes, no? Protected means if the child class and the parent class are in two different packages, even then you will be able to access them. However, if it's default, you will not be able to access them. Protected only works when there is a parent and a child relationship is in place. That is where the protected works. Everybody is clear with that concept, yes, no?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the question is, why test car and test inheritance, these two guys are showing me error?
Because we can't do any type of modifications when it is in protected mode.
What do you mean?
Not able to access, we cannot able to assign any values because it is protected, because no modifications are added.
No, who said that? No. So, for example, I can do this, right? See, speed equals to speed plus 100. I can do that, right? Who is stopping me from doing that? That is not the reason why there was an error. Protected means that only a parent or a child relationship, when there is a parent and child relationship, only the child should be able to access the variable from wherever it is in the project. That is the only difference in protected and default. Protected doesn't mean that you cannot change the value. You can certainly change the value. Obviously you can, but protected is only associated with, the concept is only associated with who can access what. So Mazda is a child class, car is a parent class, and I can access them and I can change the value, no problem at all. However, this particular situation is happening because of something else. Can you guys tell me why it is like that?
Because here there is no extend, it is mentioned.
Exactly. Test car is not extending to car class. So obviously in that situation, this element is not accessible from this class perspective. I know, Mazda is extending to, wait a minute. I did something, okay, just a minute. I'll do quickly one change. No, not even that, sorry. Even in here, right? Yeah, I cannot, as you said, right? I cannot extend, and I didn't extend this guy to the car class or Mazda class. So that is why I have a problem here over here that, okay, this protected situation is not working over here. So let me just try to do that. I'll say extends Mazda. No, this will not work. This will not work. This situation will not work, right? Yeah. Yeah, sorry, tell me. Yeah, tell me, sorry. Change the visibility public. Yeah, this situation will not work.
Extends car.
No, even if I'm extending car, This will not work. Let me just try to import it. Yeah, this will not work. In this situation, it will not work because the point is that it is not going to work in this particular situation because I'm creating an object. Sorry, there is a background noise. Who is that? Let me mute everyone. Obviously, it will not work, guys, because as I said earlier, right, the protected thing only works in a situation of a child and a parent relationship. Here, I am not working with a parent and a child relationship. Here, I'm just creating an object of the class and I'm accessing the variable. That here I'm not at all working with the parent and the child relationship. So obviously it will not work. But in this case where I worked with the parent and the child relationship, in case of Mazda, that's where I was able to access it. That's the difference. Not in this case, because here I'm creating an object of the class. Okay, so that is not going to work. So that is where the extends keyword and the protected and access specifier is finishing off. Any questions with all these topic, access specifier and inheritance? Any questions?
Sure, can you please go back to that Eclipse please once?
Yeah.
I got one doubt. If you go to the test jar, test car.java.
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay, so if we are importing like from week 3A the car class, so by default we are getting all the attributes of the car class. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're right.
So then we can access all the variables of car class.
You can, but not with an object. So for example, I'm saying extends car. I can do that, right? And then I can directly say, I don't need an object at all in that situation. Look at it. I can say that from the car, I can say sysout, or I'll just call the method directly. You see, this print info, I can call the method directly. Not in here, sorry. I cannot call it here, but I can do one thing. Wait a minute. I'll say brand equals, say, brand, yeah. Here, there's another problem, that is static reference, because I can do one thing. Wait a minute. Let me, in this location, because this main method is a static method, so that's why it is creating a problem. And in here, I cannot do it because this is not the location where I can. Yeah, it is not accepting over here also. Just a minute. What I will do is I will quickly create a method, I think that's a better way of doing it. So I will say public void test car, something like that. So I'm not creating any object of the car class, but because I am extending to the car class, I should have access to the brand variable. Brand equals, you can see I have the access to it. Because I extended to car, you don't need to have any of these statements at all. Because you have extended to car, you don't need to really create an object of the car at all. You can directly access it. That's the reason why inheritance is in place, right? You are creating inheritance so that you can access the elements from the parent class to the subclass directly without the help of any additional requirement of creating an object or whatsoever. Like so, I just got the brand. I can easily got the brand. I got the brand in the test car method, and I'm able to manipulate the value. Make sense?
Yeah, that's fine. I understood about this inheritance concept here. But if we don't extend the car also, if we simply create an object of car class and import it from another package, then also we will be able to assign values to the variables of car class. Am I correct?
That is true. But the problem is this brand method variable is now protected in nature, right?
Okay, protected can be done only in inheritance. Fine, fine, fine. Okay,
exactly. That's why. That's why. If I just make it, if I just take it out, right? If I just take them out, then you can certainly access them. Or test car. Yeah, they are in different class package now.
No, they are in different package, so then also it won't.
Yeah, but if I change it back, then it's all good, right?
Yeah, right.
So one thing is dependent on the other thing, right? So that's why the problem is happening.
Yeah, now I'm clear on it. Thank you.
Good. Anyone else is having doubt with this concept? How about just working with public? You can certainly work with, yeah, you can certainly work with public class Ola, but a lot of situation you will have to create a structure like the way I'm doing it. You need to use public, you need to use protected, you need to use private, right? For different requirement. The idea is very simple, right? You don't want, so why private is needed? You don't want any external class to access an important variable and update that value. You don't want anyone and everyone to do that. So you want to keep them as private. You're going to make them only public if you know that by changing the value, you are not really breaking anything else, right? So that's where you will be keeping them as public, but rest of the cases you will, it all depends on the structure, what exactly you're building. When we actually start creating the framework, you will ideally know what's happening and when it's happening or where it's happening, right? So there we will follow proper structure. I will let you know why to keep it private, why to keep it protected, why to keep it public, and things will be much more easier to understand. But for now, we are just clearing your fundamental knowledge, right, with respect to Java. Okay, so I will just quickly change this back to whatever it was. And when I took it out, obviously I'm getting a problem now because I cannot access brand directly, obviously. So I am having a problem now. So I'll take this out completely. That's the situation. Okay, good. So now that we have finished it, any questions, please ask me with access specifier and inheritance. Suhasini, are you clear with it?
Yes, sir, I'm fine with it. Yeah.
Okay. Gaurav? I don't know. I see Gaurav, but Gaurav is not responding. Gaurav, are you there? Not sure. Joji, you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Okay.
Okay. Please stop me if you have any problem. Java methods. Well, it's very, very simple. I have explained this earlier also. Normal method, okay. Method is basically going to be a simple block. The method is basically created to support do not repeat yourself concept very well, because you know that you are supposed to create a code block. That code block you want to reuse over and over again. So there is no point in ideally, writing that same code block over and over again whenever you want it. Rather, you want to create a method like the way I did over here. I created a simple method saying that I want to add two numbers. And I simply got two different attributes that these are two numbers I want to add, and I just simply printed the addition of it. That's basically your add two numbers method. Simple stuff. So that's why you need method, and you can call this method n number of times so that you don't have to write it over and over again. That's the simple concept of Java method. It's pretty self-explanatory. We will be writing n number of methods in future as well. So I will quickly skip out of this. But before I skip out of this, just a minute. Before I go out of this particular slide deck, I will complete the assignments over here in week 8 so that we cover things quickly, right? Just 1 minute. I want to check something. Week 3 solutions. Okay, week 3 solutions here. Why don't I have? Yeah, I have everything here. Let me delete this guy. Continue. And let me import back. File, open, import existing project. Browse. Week 3 solutions. Good. Okay. So let's try with the week 3 solution. And it was, I think, video number 8. Do I have anything with the video number 8? Yeah, video number 8, assignments. And these are the assignments that I have in here. So let me quickly cover this up before I go to video number 9. Assignment 1, write a Java program that accepts 3 parameters and prints any of these categories. Well, it's very simple. If else condition, 3 different variables I've created. I have given if else logic. You can, I would prefer to keep it like this within brackets. It looks more readable. Okay. It looks more readable. And that's the if else logic. You can see if this and this, if these 2 things are true, if x is equals to y and x is equals to z, if that situation, then I will write this. So you can see I've used a logical operator over here, which is and I said, if both of these conditions are true, then I want to print this. Else if x is equals to y, or x is equals to z, or z is equals to y, then neither same or different. Okay, not different, or else all are different numbers. Okay, that's a simple assignments that I have given, and that's how you can do it with the help of and operator and or operator. That's all is the motive for me to understand. Next is the increasing order and decreasing order. It's the same thing again with the if else statement. Here I'm just checking if the values are in the increasing order or the decreasing order. Again, I'm using and an or situation. I will put this in brackets, right? And finally, the last one. Okay, decreasing order. In video number 8.3, there's a switch case. Okay, switch case is very simple. In an IT company, QA automation bonus was announced based on categories. Bonus for test lead was 12,000, QA specialist 8,000, senior test engineer 4,000, junior 2,000, and fresher 1,000, whatever. And that's how it is then created, right? Whatever the grade you provide, depending on that, it prints the value and then it breaks out. That's all you want to say. There's a keyword over here called default, which means if you actually, you know what? I can make it better. I can quickly create another guy, which is going to be fresher. Instead of default, I will say it fresher, because fresher, and then I will say this is as fresher bonus is 1,000. Okay, I said that, and I'll break it out. And in default, I will say that in the default, I don't even need a break at all, because default is going to be my last statement. I will say incorrect the logical thing to do is incorrect grade provided. Grade provided. You understand what I'm doing? I'm saying this because I need my code to be future proof, which means if I don't provide any of the matching grades, I must be printing out an error saying incorrect grade provided, so that the code, so that who runs the program will know that they are providing a wrong information and they will provide the right information. But default, by keeping this fresher under the default, you are basically going to say that for any value that you provide, always print the value for fresher. That doesn't make sense. You have to understand what exactly you are using as input and what will be your output. You should have complete control on that. What should be your input and what should be your output? In this situation, it will work out for me because that's how I modified it. So right now, if I just say something stupid like this, junior test, and if I run this, then I must get the value as incorrect grade provided. Make sense? So that's how it should be done. Any questions with these three assignments? They are very simple assignments. Any questions? Yes, no? Tripti, are you okay? Ravi, are you okay?
Yeah, Shovik, I'm fine. Thanks.
Okay, Neha, you're good?
Yep.
Okay. So that's the simple switch case on that. I will quickly move. I think that was the end of the, let me see quickly if I have other assignments as well there. No, I think this 3 was there. Okay, good. Let me quickly go back to the class number 9. In the class number 9, I have spoken about something else. So very important concept, guys, very, very important concept. I'm trying to talk about constructor, polymorphism, overriding, those kind of things. So constructors, right? What is constructor? Well, constructor is, as the name suggests, constructor helps us to construct your object, your instance with some initial state. That is basically constructor means. What exactly I'm trying to say here is, I will go back to my same old car situation. So you can see this is my car class. Ideally, you know, we should not keep any of these attributes as public or default or protected from industry perspective, from the best practice perspective. These are the attributes that are holding data. You don't want these attributes to be public or protected, which can be easily manipulated. You don't want that to happen. What you want to do is you want to keep these attributes as private, and you want only certain situation you want to really, you know, change the values, right? So what I will quickly do is I will make this as enabled. I don't need a model anymore now. I will quickly go back and make this as private. I will make all of them private, ideally. Private, ideally. So these are my variables that are holding the information. That's good. But the problem is with the private, we saw that no one else will be able to actually set the value inside these variables. None of them, no one will be able to do it because they're private. They're only accessible within the method that are there within the class. Okay, what can I do in that situation? Or what I should do is, I should, whenever I'm creating a class like this, I must create a constructor. I must create a constructor so that I can create some initial state of my object. I can create a class with some initial state of my object, which means I can create a constructor with the same. If you have seen the video and looked into the PPT, I have clearly said that you can create a constructor with the name of the class, so public car. It has to be always public. Constructor is always public, so public car. And then with this brackets in here, I can go ahead and I can create my, I can use these attributes to create or to, give the value, give the data inside these attributes. So string model, this is not string, this is double engine, string model, and as a mod, and I will say int speed. Okay, so I have just created a constructor over here. That's totally fine. This, by creating a constructor, oopsie, just a minute. So by creating a constructor over here, by creating a constructor over here, right? Now I have the flexibility or the possibility to directly create an object of the car class at the same time to assign the values inside these variables. How can I do it? It's very simple. I can say brand, because it's in the class. So I can say brand equals br engine equals eng model equals mod and speed equals spd. True. I just got all of them there. I just got all these values assigned to the private variables, right? Now, the problem is, not the problem, but now what I can do is, I can take you quickly back to, you see, when I did that, I started getting errors everywhere, okay? Which is understandable. So let me first tackle the situation one by one. Let me first take you to the subclass, which is Mazda and Benz. Let me see why they are pretty. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I have a question, please. Mm-hmm. What is your intention when you are assigning those values to the variables? Okay. What do you want to achieve by doing that?
Okay. Okay. So this was not there earlier. This situation was not there earlier. I just kept it right now. Okay. In this situation, if you look at the test car, what was I doing? I was able to create an object of car class, and I was able to access these variables directly, brand, engine, model, everything. And I was supplying the data like this inside these variables. But as I said, the best practice is not to keep these variables as public and access them through an object of the class. Because if you do it, anyone can access these variables at any given point and make the change to it. And your program will then fail because you don't have control over what to be updated when. As I said, programming is very, very structural subject, right? You want to keep control over what to be accessible, what to be not accessible, who can access it, and everything. So for example, you have given, I'm giving your task to create a class, and that class you're creating, and you're keeping everything exposed. Okay, by doing so, what's happening is, when I'm saying exposed, you're keeping everything as public. By doing so, what is happening is anyone who will be using your class can go ahead and update any value whatsoever anytime. That is not something probably you want to keep, because your class probably need a better structure or better way of keeping things organized. You don't want everybody, or anytime, everybody, obviously anybody can access your class, but you don't want everybody to access the class and change the value anytime. You want to control that. You want to tell them when to change the value, when not to change the value, from where you can change the value and from where you cannot change the value. You want to control all those structures. Is that making sense?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
So with that, if I am keeping brand, engine, and model exposed, so as soon as I'm creating an object of car class, I am able to change the value. I can later change the value. I can do anything and everything whenever I want to. I don't want that to happen. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a controlled approach. What I am trying to do here is that I am creating a car class. Perfectly fine. I am creating a constructor. I'm creating a constructor. I'm saying when I will be instantiating an object of car, only then I want to initialize the car with some initial state of the car object. You want to initialize the car with some initial state of the car object. At the very beginning, when your car class is instantiated, like in here, when you are instantiating your car class for the very first time, all the values inside brand, engine, model, every one of them are going to be your default value, which will be given by Java. That is either 0 or null. String will have null, double will have 0.0, and your integers will have 0, right? That will be the default values given to you when you will be creating an object just like that. But you don't want to do that. You want to create some object of the car class with some initial data into it. Okay, initial meaningful data into it. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is that, you see, I am creating a car class. Let me tackle things one by one. So because I created a car class constructor, and I am accepting all these attributes to be passed on to all these variables. That is what I'm doing as a part of this particular constructor. You have to understand one more thing, guys. That is, whenever I'm creating any object of any class, or whenever I'm creating any class, I'm saying public, say person. That's a class I'm creating. As soon as I'm creating a class like this, public person, as soon as I'm doing that, what's happening is, by default, Java is creating an empty constructor. Please understand this concept very well. Java is creating by default an empty constructor like this, public person. When I'm saying empty constructor, it means there is no attributes I'm passing within these brackets. Also, there is no implementation of this person constructor at all, nothing at all. So it is an empty constructor. any class in Java, when you're creating an empty constructor by default. Because we are creating that, because Java is creating that, that is the reason you can see that whenever, for example, I'm creating a class over here, new class, and I will say person class. Okay, this person class that I created, you are not seeing it, I am not seeing it, but there is an empty constructor in the person class. Okay, because I have an empty constructor in the person class, let me create some method here, just a simple method, public void print. This is person class with empty constructor. Empty constructor. Every class will have an empty constructor whenever you are creating that class, which means if I go ahead and new class, say test person, okay? And the test person, I will have a main method. In the main method, I will do something as a person. Look at this, person equals new person. You see, I am able to write this structure. I am able to write this structure, new person. I am able to write the structure because there is an empty constructor in that class, which you and me cannot see. It is happening by default. Now, in this situation, if I go ahead and if I say person dot what? Dot print. If I say that, I am able to call this print method because I am able to create an object of person class and I named that as person, right? And I am able to call this method, right? And now if I just say run as Java application, you can see that I will get the value over here without any problem. As I'm saying you that whenever you're creating a class, you're going to create by default an empty constructor. And I will prove that to you right now. What I will do is I will not make any change in this particular program. I will not make any change in this particular program, but to make it visible for you, I will quickly go back to person class and I will just say this, public void, okay, person. I am tapping the empty constructor. I'm trying to show you that whatever I just said, that makes sense. I'm creating an empty constructor explicitly. It is already there. Implicitly, it is already there. But I'm showing you explicitly that there is a person constructor in place, which I am just trying to engage in this program. So now what I will do is I'll put a breakpoint here. So this is out. I'll say empty. When I'm saying empty constructor, it means two things. It means there is no implementation. There is no attributes coming inside the constructor. That's one thing. Second thing is there is no implementation. So by default, this is what the structure is of an empty constructor. But I want to show you that whatever I said makes sense by adding this print out statement, empty constructor. And as I promised that I will not make any change to the test person class. So I'm not making any change in this situation. And I will quickly debug this program. what I will do is I'll say debug as Java application. If I do this, I will be landing directly. Did I debug? Person class, okay. Debug as Java application. If I debug, proceed. Why am I not stopping here? I'm not stopping here because of the errors, is it? I think so. Yeah, because of the other errors in the program, right? That's why I'm not stopping. Let me quickly do one thing. I will quickly go ahead and comment out everything else. I'll comment out everything else. And then I will run this. Okay, then I will run this. Okay, so test person. So debug as Java application. Okay, I'm so sorry, guys. I didn't make it as a constructor. I added a return statement. Constructor will never have a return statement. That's why it's not working. So that's that. Okay. So now let's run this again. Debug as Java application. And you see, I am landing into I'm pausing my execution in line number 6 of the person class constructor, which is an empty constructor, right? Which is an empty constructor. So which clearly shows that whatever I just said a minute back about creating a class, whenever you're creating a class and you're creating an object of the class, you are always trying to work with an empty constructor just by writing this particular line. Is this making sense? Are you understanding that without knowing, you are creating you are working with constructor? Is this making sense? Yes, no? Is it making sense, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So we have constructor by default anyways. Implicitly, it is given by Java every time. Now, we are trying to build our knowledge on top of that. How? We are trying to create our own version of constructor. Okay? How can I do that? So let's go back to our car class. In the car class, as I said, I am not even creating the empty constructor again. I'm not working out with empty constructor again. What am I doing is I'm straight away creating one constructor, and this constructor is accepting certain attributes. This constructor is accepting certain attributes: brand, engine, model, speed. These are the attributes that the constructor is accepting. By doing so, I am taking the value from the user, using the constructor, and straight away putting the value inside these variables. That's it. So which means I am creating an object of card with some initial value. Now, by doing so, by creating a constructor, by designing a constructor like this, what you can do is just see what you can do. You can quickly go back to your test card class. Okay. Now, I will just uncomment this whole block. I did that. Actually, I will comment this part now. Okay. As soon as I do that, so look at it. Look at it. The car class is having a constructor, which is this guy, that is accepting all these 4 attributes, 4 values. That's good. Test car class is creating a problem. Immediately, test car class is giving me an exception whenever I'm writing this particular line. I told you in a minute back that by default, every Java class will have a default constructor. I told you that just a minute back. So with that understanding, this guy should have worked. This guy should have worked, right? But it's not working anymore. It's not working anymore as I have added explicit constructor over here. But you have to tell me why this line is not allowed anymore. If I hover on top of this error, it says the constructor car with empty constructor is undefined. It's saying the constructor is undefined. The car constructor is undefined. Why it is undefined when it is already implicitly given by Java? Can anyone tell me that, please? What do you think? Why do you think this is the problem? Gagan, do you want to tell me why it is like this?
Sorry, Sovik, I didn't get the last line.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that I have the car class. In the car class, I have created a constructor, which is a constructor that is accepting some attributes, right?
Yeah.
Now, in the car class, in the test car class, when I'm creating an object of car with an empty constructor, why it is giving me an error? I told that by default, every Java class will have an empty constructor, right? So this will also work, but it's not working anymore now. Why is that?
Because when you are defining the parameterized constructor, so it is expecting the parameters in that. If you're not defining any constructor, then it will call the default constructor.
Exactly. Is that making sense, guys? So which means if you have engaged, if you have created, by rule, if you have created a parameterized constructor, by doing so, you are actually creating, you're creating a rule. So for example, I have given you a task to create a class. And what you have done is you have quickly created a class with a parameterized constructor. I told you the parameterized constructor will be used in order to give an initial state of your object. Now, because there is a parameterized constructor in the class, now your users are forced to pass the parameter. You are actually forcing them to pass the parameter. Without that, you're not even allowing them to create an object of the car class. Are you understanding how you can make the user do what you wanted them to do? Can you understand that, please? Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Right. So you are now forcing them that you cannot get away with creating an empty object or a simple car class without passing the values. So you're forcing them there. Okay. So that's that. So you can, if you want to, you can keep multiple constructor in the class as well. That is called constructor overloading. I will come to that in a minute. But for example, you saw this error now, right? I can do one thing. I can quickly go back to my car class. And then I can create an empty constructor now again. Okay, I can create it. Nobody will stop me from doing that. So I'll say public car and this guy, just like that. As soon as I do it, my error is gone. My error from this guy is gone because now I'm explicitly putting a empty car class constructor, so that error is gone. So now, if I go back to my car class again, I can now say something like this: throw new exception cannot create an empty constructor. So you see what I did? Now I am, okay. So whatever I did here is I'm saying someone who will be creating a car class with an empty constructor, and when they run it, they will be immediately thrown with an exception saying cannot create an empty constructor. So this is basically I am changing. So there are two different type of compilation problem happens, right? One is a runtime compilation. One is a compile time error, compile time error, and runtime error. So you see what I did? Because I added this new structure over here right now, throw new exception. I wanted to just let you know that you can throw an exception whenever you wish. So what I'm trying to do is, as soon as someone will create an object of car class constructor, they will create a car class object and they will to run this program, immediately they will be thrown with an error message saying cannot create an empty constructor. Okay, so if I right now go ahead and just say add throws declaration, if I just quickly say save, let me clear my drawings, and if I just simply run this program, right, test car, run as Java application, immediately I'm getting an exception over here, and my code will not even run because cannot create an empty constructor. I'm getting it in the car class in Java 11, line number 11 in the car class, and the test car class is in line number 5. You see that? So I just quickly converted. So I quickly, I'm throwing an exception whenever somebody will run it, saying that you cannot create a constructor like that. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that you can ideally create multiple constructor in the same class. It's called constructor overloading. However, I would like to understand whether you are aware, you're understanding why I need a constructor, right? I mean, you got the concept of a constructor, right? Why it is needed? Yes, no?
In real time, so we use constructors to initialize all the attributes values?
Yeah. You are, as I said, you are going to use the constructor in order to create an initial state of the object. So yes, with the constructor, you are going to have, you are going to give an initial state. You're going to supply the value inside data inside the values, inside the variables. Yes. Actually, what will happen is you can go ahead and create multiple constructor, as I said. So for example, here I'm throwing an exception. Let me actually take it out. Okay. Okay. You can create a constructor like this or default constructor like this, where you are giving some initial value on your own. Brand equals some brand, okay, so on and so forth. So you are giving some initial value as soon as someone is creating a constructor with empty constructor. You can do that also, right? Nobody's stopping you from doing that. Engine 2.1.1.3, something like that, right? And then you can have another constructor like this where you want to supply the value. So which means that it depends on your user now that they want to supply the value inside the variables when they are creating the constructor, when they're creating the object of the car class, or they want to do it later on. Probably you have some method over here. I don't know. I'm just saying public void set values. Okay. As a part of set values, you are, a program can be done in many ways, right? Many ways. Set values. And as a part of set values, you can set the values. You understand?
Yeah.
You can set the values. No problem. You don't have to then give this guy at all. You don't have to give this guy at all. You can just, somebody can create a car class constructor just like that, like we used to do earlier, with some default values. And then they can set the value using this particular situation. So a program can be done in multiple different ways. What is the most method get used in real world scenario? Rabia, mostly I will say it is the right way to do is through constructor. But as I said, multiple things can work out. Yeah, Moses, tell me. That's okay. Thank you. Take care. Bye. Okay. So that's with the constructor part. Okay. Now I will quickly go back to my code and I'll talk about overloading, method overloading. Well, method overloading is a simple concept. Yes, I don't want to write the program, but I want to show you what exactly it is. The idea is simple. You're keeping the name common. You're keeping the name common for your methods. Okay, but you see the implementation is different. The attributes are different. You see here, there are 3 attributes. Here I have 2 attributes. Here you are simply adding 2 different values. Here you are adding 3 different values. Here you are doing a sum of 2 doubles. And in this case, you are doing a sum of integers. So it is basically called overloading or polymorphism. Okay, which is nothing but you can create multiple different implementation of a method which is named after the same name, but few things you have to you have to understand that the attributes that you're passing should be different. Attributes should be different. For example, I can just quickly show you something. I'm getting some questions. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Moses. Bye. He's gone. Okay, anyways. So what I will quickly do is just 1 minute. Just give me 1 second.
Shovik, are you there?
He's coming in 1 minute.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm just doing something. I'll come back.
Can we take break for 5 minutes, Shovik?
Yeah, I think that's a better thing, right? Let's take a quick break, 5 minutes, and then I'll come back. Yeah, that's better.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Are we good to start the class? Everybody's okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm talking about the overloading. Overloading. So overloading is a very simple concept, right? As I said, multiple name, same name of multiple different methods. The implementation should be different for all the different methods, right? So you have to understand public void, for example, void sum, or any method, say test method, right? And you can say int a, int b. You see, I can create a method like this. I have no problem in doing that. If I just copy this guy and if I paste it again, I will be thrown with a compile time error saying that these two are duplicate methods. You can see duplicate method. That is not what we want to have, obviously. So we can create another, we can have, depending on our requirement, I can have another attribute saying int c. So you can see now test method with the same name is existing in the same class, no problem at all. You have to also understand that when I'm saying the number, the attributes, it is the number of attributes and the type of attributes. So for example, I can have a string a and int b, string a and int b, string a and int b, and int a, b, c. These are two different methods, but they are allowed in the same class. Even if the name is different, they are still allowed. Why? Because they have different attributes that I'm accepting inside it. The weird thing is, you see, the number is same, the attribute numbers are same, A and B, attribute number is same. So you can see, I'll just copy this, I'll paste it again. I will get duplicate method, right? I'll get duplicate method error, no problem at all. But if I just simply interchange the location, then it is acceptable. It's weird, but it is true, right? You see, this guy and this guy is acceptable, but actually I'm accepting the same attributes, same type of attributes and same number of attributes. I just changed the order of it, and now it is acceptable by Java. It is weird, but that's how it is. Okay. Ideally, why do I need to create multiple different methods with different attributes? The reason for that is simple. That is, you want to keep the implementation of each and every method different by keeping the name of the method same. So by doing so, you just have to remember one type of method name, but then you can choose which particular attribute to pass on, depending on what is the output you're looking for. For example, if I am working with a string, right? So string name equals Sovik. And now you can see that name dot, okay, you can see when I say name dot, you can see that there are, for example, content equals, it requires a character sequence attribute. The same thing is again over here. Here you are passing a string buffer attribute. The output of both of these variables or the methods is Boolean. You see that? It says Boolean is the output. For both of them, the output is Boolean. Just a minute, is it Boolean or? Is it Boolean? Yeah, it's Boolean, right? For both of them, the attribute, the output is Boolean, but you can see that they have same name. So which means you just need to remember only one name of the method, and depending on your situation, you will pass different type of attributes and it will do the job. Similarly, you can see get byte. Get bytes, how many of them are there? 1, 2, 3. There are 3 different overloaded methods. You see that? So this is why overloading is important. You want to keep implementation different, okay, but same name, right? That is what is all about overloading. I hope this is pretty self-understandable. I mean, it's quite simple to understand. Do you have any specific questions for me? Overloading, any questions? Yes, no?
Oh, fine.
Okay. Overriding. Overriding is simple. Again, what am I doing? I need to have a parent and a child relationship in this. In case of overriding, what you're doing is you're overriding the method that is created in the parent inside the child. So I have two different methods, two different class here, which is a parent class and the child class. The child class is inheriting to the parent class, as we have seen many times earlier. And now what am I doing? I have created a method over here called show. The show method is printing some information, as you can see that. Parent show, some printing it is doing. But in the child class, what you want to do, you want to keep the name of the method. You want to keep the name of the method. You want to keep the return type of the method and the attribute of the method same. Okay, same as it is described in the parent, but the implementation is different. Okay, but the implementation is different. By doing so, what's happening is you are creating your own version. A child is creating its own version of the same method name. Now, in this situation, what will happen, guys, is if I'm doing something like this, if I'm saying something like this, look at it very well. If I say parent P equals new parent, right? And if I say P dot show, what will happen, guys? What will happen is that it will print, or it will be, let me draw, it will be calling this particular method. No problem at all. It will call this particular method, no problem at all in the understanding. On the other hand, if I am overriding, if I'm overriding this show method, in my child class, and if I say something like this, that child C equals new child, if I say C dot show, then I will not be calling this particular method, but I will be calling this method. I will be calling the show method, which is designed or re-implemented inside the child. That is where the overriding works. If I don't have an overridden method at all in the child class, then in that situation, it will be calling the old show method, which is coming out of the parent. But if I have a inner or my own show method in the child class, then it will call the inner one. Okay, make sense? Yes, no? That's the overriding concept. Make sense? Is it fine to understand?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Cool. Clear the drawing. Let's move on to the next one. Runtime polymorphism, a very, very important concept, guys. Runtime polymorphism. It works in a situation where we have inheritance in place. You are saying a child is extending to a parent. So there is a concept that you have to understand this. You have to understand this situation very well, right? So I am having a class called as car, and I have subclasses called Benz, I have Mazda, I have, say, Porsche. These three classes, and all of these classes that I have over here are extending to car class. In this situation, I can easily say something. I can say that Benz or Mazda or Porsche, they are of type car. Understand the sentence very well. Mazda, Benz, Mazda, Porsche are of type car. If I can say that, I can say that only in a situation because Benz is extending to car, Mazda is extending to car. So I can say that all these subclasses are of type car class. In that situation, I can do something. I can write, I can obviously create like this. I can obviously say like this, saying Benz, come on, man. Benz B equals new Benz. I can certainly say that. No problem at all. I have shown you n number of times today that we can say that without a problem, and then we can call the respective method for the Benz. Ideally, it will be calling the method which is designed inside the car class. We have seen that. We can also say one more thing. It is called as runtime polymorphism. We can say the car, it's a car instance. Look at this. It's a car instance named as Benz. Understand my keywords, the keywords that I'm using. Understand this very well, or the terminology. You should understand this. I'm saying I'm creating an instance of car named as Benz, pointing to or referencing to Benz class. You understand? You see? Car instance is referencing to Benz, right? Car instance referencing to Benz. I am able to say something like this if and only if Benz is of type car. Only then I can say this. Is this making sense? This is called runtime polymorphism. But can someone tell me why it is so important? Why it is so important? Can anyone tell me that? Benz is of type car. I am able to write this program. I'm able to write this sentence. But can someone tell me why it is so important? I have explained this in the video. If someone has seen the video, then I'm sure you will be able to answer me.
I think this helps to call the method, the overloaded method.
Overloaded method? No.
Sorry, not overloaded. That's what we will call the concept that you explained just before. Overridden method, sorry.
Overridden method is okay. That's fine. Overridden method is fine. But other than that, there is also a very, very important concept in runtime polymorphism.
Is it because it can decide which method to be run accordingly?
Exactly. So it is now platform agnostic. I want to show you I want to show you this program, right? So let me just quickly go back to situation. So what I will do is I will create a new, or I will just do one thing. I will just quickly create, I have a car class. Let me see what I have. I have a car class. Let me think. I can create a person. Yeah, I have a person, right? The person, I'll put it here. Okay. In the person class, I have some stupid stuff. I don't want to really have them. I can simply create private string name and private string, say gender. That's it. I have these two guys, and I will just have a print, and the print will just print these two values. Person info, and person info, and here I will just say name plus gender. Okay, that's the simple person class. Good stuff, no problem at all. I can create two different classes, for example, not package. New class. One is Rabia, and another one is bio. Right? I created these two guys. Perfectly fine. I'm extending to person. Both of them are extending to person. Right? Rabia is extending to person. Extends to person. Right? Now I will create some method over here inside the Rabia, saying public void my occupation or my job, something like that. This out. I am into manual testing. Okay. And bio, I'm saying I am into performance testing, something like that. Performance testing, right? And I will also create a method called my job, which is going to be a part of the person class. Okay, person class, and I will have a method over. I mean, the implementation is I have no job. Correct. So ideally, what happened by doing this is I have a my job method, which is a part of person class, and in the child class of Rabia and bio, I have simply I'm overriding the my job. How can you see that it's overriding? You can see a small triangle next to my method. It's saying overrides this particular guy because bio is extending to person, so I can create the situation now. Okay, perfectly fine. Now I will show you something. I will say test runtime polymorphism, a new class. Come on, man. New class. Okay. I'll say test runtime polymorphism. Runtime. Okay. With the main method. Now what I will do is I will quickly go ahead and first and foremost, I'm going to create a situation like the one I was describing there, right? I will first give a name called string name, and I will name it as Rabia. Okay, cool. Now I will do something. I will create another object. I will say the object name is person. So I'll say person p equals null. Look at this. Person p equals null, or person equals null. Person equals null. That's fine. Now what I'll do, I will do one more thing. I will say if name equals name dot equals Rabia. If name dot equals Rabia, okay. If name dot equals Rabia, then I want to do something. I want to say person equals new Rabia. Equals new Rabia. Do you see that? So ideally, what am I doing? I am creating an object of person, and if it's Rabia, then I'm creating an object of Rabia. Else, if it is name dot bio, then I'm creating an object of bio. Make sense? I can do that. You see, it is now agnostic of what exactly I am trying to create. I'm trying to create an object of Rabia, so I will just quickly go and change the profile from Rabia to bio, and I can quickly change that the actual object it is referencing to. Now, all I will do is, I will do this, right? I will say person dot print. Okay, I have to actually set the values, right? I didn't do it. That's stupid of me. Let me quickly say person name. Yeah, these are all private, right? I have to set some values, otherwise how will it happen? I can do it with constructor, but let's not go in that. Public void set values. Okay. And I'll say string name, string gender. I will say name equals name and gender equals gender. That's it. So set values is now will be called in this location. So I will say person dot set values. Obviously, I will say name as Rabia, or I'll just say name as name. This name is a variable string, right? So name as name, and the gender is male. And person name as name will be no problem, and this is as main. Simple, right? And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do simply one thing, and that is person. Look at it. I'm not saying Rabia.print info. I'm saying person.print info, guys. Okay, and then person dot my job. Do you see that? I am creating, well, I'm creating the object. I am making, I am figuring out what type of object I want to create. The object will be obviously person type, but whom it is referencing to. It is referencing to Rabia or to bio. And depending on the object I created, my result will be automatically changing. So now if I run this, run as Java application, I get the value for Rabia, right? I'm into manual testing. If I change this to bio, I get the, so you see how easy I can change things. Just with a simple variable name, I am now creating different object just with a simple structure. You see that? Does that make sense? Depending on what type of object it is referencing to, you will be able to call the method respective to that particular reference. Make sense? Yes, no?
Yes.
Yes.
Any doubts? Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. We will be using this concept later on in the framework, implementation.
Shavik, one thing, when you put this if condition, when it is Rabia, then we can call the print method at that point as well, right?
No, why will you do it here? Why will you print it over here? You want to do it over here, right? This if block is only to create the object and to set the values depending on Rabia or on bio. If I want to do it over here, this print over here, right? Then you have to do it 2 times, right?
Yeah, true.
Why do you want to do 2 times? You can't just do it only 1 time.
Okay, so that is what the main con means.
Exactly.
Usage of this runtime polymorphism.
Exactly. Depending on your input, you want to create an object of person class referencing to the class, the subclass, ideally. Yeah. This is where I am able to make that arrangement of, a child class is of type of, base class. That's where it is needed. Okay.
Okay.
So that's that. Create a simple framework. I think I have explained that in the video. I will go back to that in a minute, but I'll quickly look into my week 3 solutions. Okay, assignment V9, assignment number 1. Okay, I think it is just talking about some John has written a code below, but it's showing compilation error. Can you identify the problem? So obviously I cannot extend to both the classes. That's why that was the problem, right? That's this one. And then where are my other guys? Week 3 video number.
So it is more of theoretical, nothing we have to execute.
Yeah.
You can directly go through the question.
Yeah, I can actually go to the questions, right? That's right. So we'll quickly go in there. Yeah, these are all mostly of that. What is the subclass? I told you this. Can a class extend itself? Have you tried this, guys?
No, it cannot extend.
Exactly. Private member of a class are inherited to subclass. True or false? It's a false. If class B is a class, if class B is a subclass from class A, which is correct syntax? Yeah, class B extends A. That's it. Then what else? Okay, I think most of it is already shown to you in the video. I mean, in the class right now. I think it is quite easy to follow. If you have any questions, I will anyway upload this week 3 video, week 3 concept solutions in the drive. You can take a look into it. Let me quickly actually go to, because we are almost end of today's session. Quickly go back to my class 10 and let me see what I have in here. Okay, WebDriver locator strategies. What is XPath? Absolute relative XPath, finding a web element using XPath. Yeah, this is a very, very important concept, guys. I
need to ask on this locator strategy. So whatever you have listed here, here, locator strategy, are these all the only thing that is used in Selenium, or other than this also something is
No,
there?
These are all the methods that are part of Selenium, but I have explained this as well, or I will explain it later also many times, that out of all of this, only few of them are something that you will be using.
Like XPath.
Like XPath is one of them, which is going to work always. Very, in a very limited number of situations, you will see that an element that you're trying to interact with is having an ID. Okay, not all the elements in the page you will see will have an ID. Some of them will have an ID, and you can, if you have an ID, you can definitely go and use with that. There is no point in using any of these guys, like finding element by link text, finding by class name, and I have explained this why it is not something that you can work with or you want to work with. Partial link text not needed, URL not needed, by tag name absolutely not, right? Ideally, this ID and XPath or CSS selector is something that you want to work with even in the actual enterprise level situation. That's what it will be working with. I have explained about how to create XPath, how to work with XPath. For now, you can copy the XPath from the browser directly. How can you do it? It's very simple. For example, you have, so this is my Edge browser. I'll open up my Firefox browser. It's pretty much same for anything, any browser whatsoever. For example, I'll go to my custom QA. Right, this is my button. I want to inspect it. Just right click on it, inspect the element. Okay, when you do it, you will immediately get the window open, and you can see that I have a ID called as comp something, comp k hello label, whatever it is, right? So this is basically an ID that you're getting out of it. That's totally fine. For this particular span, it's a span to the in XPath or in HTML component. There are two things that you must be very much well versed with, which is one is the tag. The tag is nothing but span is a tag, A is a tag, A is basically for anchor, and then attribute. So you can see that every component in HTML world is having a tag and a combination of multiple attributes. And then also there's in some of the components, you will see that there is a value which is displayed to the user. For example, you can see join for free is the value that you are able to see. Me and you are able to see. That is displayed to the public, right? So this join for free text is coming over here, but actually that text is being held via this particular variable, tag, which is span, and the attribute is ID. ID is ID, and there is a value over here, and there are another attribute which is class. So you can see it's a combination of multiple different attributes and the tag, which basically is something that you see there. Okay. So just a minute. Let me quickly go back to my program. Not here. Sorry. To this guy. Okay. Here I'm talking about multiple different locator strategies, but the one that you will be using is ID and XPath or CSS selector. Okay, what is XPath? Well, XPath is a structured navigation technique used in any structured document. XPath is not only something that can be used only with HTML, but it can be also used in XML. Okay. So you can see that I have a structured layout which is given to you by HTML. So in here I have HTML tag that is starting the the whole page. There's the HTML root element. Inside that I have a body. Inside that I have a body, and I have a paragraph and an anchor. Okay, this is my HTML root element. I have a body, then I have a paragraph and an anchor. Just give me 1 minute. Okay. So we have the HTML component, which is HTML root, and I have a body. Inside the body, I have paragraph, and I have an anchor. Okay, so anchor is basically something that will be giving me a link that I can click on. Paragraph is something that can be displaying some text to the user, right? That is what the paragraph is coming to play. So every tag that is there in the HTML is something that is there for a particular purpose. That is there for a particular purpose, right? For anchor is to work with some links. Paragraph is to show some text. Span is to show some single line of text. Then there are input boxes, which will accept some information from the user, so on and so forth. Okay, also you have to understand that depending on different type of combination, you are basically creating a structure. For example, you have an attribute, or you have a tag called as input. Okay, the attribute of input can be different. For example, if you say type equals text, type is the attribute of an input tag. If it is text, then it is going to be a text box. If it is a password, then it is going to be a text box, but it will be only accepting password, which means you will see that whenever you are entering a text, it is going to be transformed into a star or a round dot, right? If it is submit, then it is going to be a button. So depending on what exactly is a type of that particular attribute of input type, input tag, you are creating different elements, which is something that you have to understand. I have explained that thoroughly in the video. Please take a look into it and let me know if you have any specific questions. Okay, let me go down. HTML structure. Always an HTML is following a layout. We call it as a DOM, document object model. This model is followed by every web developer in the world, where they will have a HTML root. Inside that, there will be a head and there will be a body. In the head, they're going to keep some information like title, like some CSS information, like some JavaScript information. And then there is going to be body, which will have all the containers or all the main components like images, like buttons, like links, like divisions. So what is div? Div is basically a division inside, division is like a section in the page that is keeping all your components. So you can see when a page is created, guys, when a page is created, a page is like this. When a page is created, the developers are very clever, right? They take, so you see in the page, you see everything is organized. Everything is organized because the developers are very clever. What they do is they divide everything in sections. They divide everything in sections and then maybe subsections. And maybe subsections like this. And then they are keeping components within these sections so that everything is neat, tidy, and it contains a particular layout. It follows a particular structure, right? So that's how you see everything is organized. They take the help of divisions, they take the help of tables to make things organized and designed in a particular layout, right? So that's why you have different components in place. All right, and then every other guy will have a particular structure like a head. It will have something like a head. Yes, it will have something like a body, which will contain all your information. So that's the layout then. Let me clear it out. Let me quickly go down. Okay, I have spoken about absolute XPath and relative XPath in details. I would like to understand how many of you really understood this concept of absolute XPath and relative XPath. It's a very important concept. You need to understand why you need to use relative over absolute. How many of you have gone through that video and can tell me that you're confident with it? Daniel?
Yeah, the problem with absolute XPath is if the developer changes the structure of the HTML,
Exactly.
it could change the path and then your test will be broken.
Perfect. Perfect. On the other hand, relative XPath, I am basically using relative XPath. I'm searching the whole page, but I'm searching with the help of my relative XPath methods, some of the methods that I will be introducing later on, and a particular structure, okay, where it's basically searching over the whole page. It doesn't really matter where exactly that element is residing. Okay, it doesn't really matter, right? So that's how the relative XPath is different than the absolute XPath. Because we are already at the end of the class, I really cannot go back and talk about relative XPath and absolute XPath one more time because we are having shorter time. But don't worry, what I'm expecting is I want you to really complete the video. If you have not watched it, you complete the video and then ask me specific question with relative XPath and absolute XPath, and then then I can probably give you one more, or maybe next week I can have one more round of discussion about this particular structure. But ideally, it is helping us to find the element faster, or in a maintainable way. We are creating the XPath so that it is not broken when there is a change in the web page, because every now and then your developers will keep on changing the layout, or they will rename something, or they will do some kind of change which you have no control on, and that's where it will be broken if you don't follow the absolute XPath and relative XPath concept. Okay. Finding an element by XPath, I have explained that, and that is the end of the third video. I know that class 10 I have a little bit rushed because I'm ending the class, but I don't want to really keep you here long enough. What we can do is you can look at the video one more time if you have not done that yet. Come back to me with questions, or maybe next week I can talk you through about it, because we will do many exercises over absolute and relative XPath later on, and then we can work on it. Okay. So that's pretty much about it for today. I will enable you with week 4 after this class, and regarding. And yeah, so here in the week 4 also, I have spoken about relative XPath and XPath methods. This week will be completely on XPath, right? This week number 4. So we will anyway, next week anyway, I will be talking about all of them again, and I will talk about relative and absolute XPath one more time so I can clear your doubts there. All right. So I will be sending some emails about the continuation beyond week 4. I have reached out to some of you guys in the Slack, and I will be sending some emails. Please keep a note. In that you will be receiving some emails that is over the week, and let me know what you think about it. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for today. I will enable you for week 4, and that's pretty much about it for today. Yeah, have a great week ahead, guys. If you have any questions, please reach me out in the Slack, me and Gagan, and yeah, that's pretty much I wanted to cover.
Thank you.
Sorry?
I said thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you everyone. Thank you for joining. Have a great week ahead, guys.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Nice day.
Bye.